I mean, I did a whole 12 days Christmas thing wherein I did nothing but talk about how much I love Christmas because Christmas is great. And I'm super excited because 8 days to Christmas would actually means like 7 days until my break. And I am here for that. So, yes, I'm not making a Christmas soap today, though. So I should stop talking about Christmas because you are well aware that it's 8 days until Christmas because you exist in the world with me. So, yeah, but I will tell you all about the bar that we are making today in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. It's 8 days until Christmas. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you are here for day 259 of 365 days of soap. And we are making a new bar for a new wholesale account. Now, this is very exciting. Whenever I pick up a new wholesale account, it's cool. And it always happens in kind of fun ways. Like people will just message me and say, hey, I would like to stock your soaps in my shop. And can I do? And so like doing the scheming and the designing and all the things with the new client, it's always awesome. This particular client is a coffee house though, and coffee and soap, while coffee is great in soap, and you know, you should always use soap before or after you drink your coffee, it all works. It can be a little bit interesting to sell soap and coffee in the same location, right? And so we're going to talk about that within the video, as well as what we did for the pour and all of her color schemes and all of the things. So we should get to it. Okay, so this pour is actually kind of a fun one because this is for a local coffee shop that I recently picked up as a wholesale account, and she of course wanted coffee soaps in the line, which makes all of the sense in the world, right? But she also wanted one that doesn't smell like coffee but still maybe looks like coffee, and she wasn't quite sure what that meant. And so she came in and we played with scents, and she had picked a delightful sandalwood, which is very similar to the sandalwood that I use in the Griffin Glow bar, actually, for the Harry Potter line. And she wasn't 100% sure what she wanted the soaps to look like. And so I suggested doing like, because one of the other soaps we're doing, obviously it looks like coffee and it smells like coffee and it's all the things, but I suggested doing a similar pour to that, but instead of making it look like coffee per se, playing with her company's colors and really bringing her business colors and everything into the soap itself to really tie in everything that you would see when you walked into the coffee house. And she loved that idea, and so that was cool. I got to play with that. Now her colors are like a maroony burgundy and black and white, which is awesome. I am all for that because, you know, my colors are black and white and, you know, like a purpley maroony. And so yes, cool. And so that is what I'm going for within this pour. I want all three of those colors to be represented, but also for it to still look like it belongs in a coffee shop, right? So this is what we're doing. We have kaolin clay for the white, activated charcoal for the black, and two colors from Mad Mica for the maroony burgundy. And I think the colors that I used is something like spicy tomato and sexy stranger on a train. I'm pretty sure those are the exact colors that I used. I love the names of Mad Mica's micas. They're so good. I actually do buy their micas for the names. Like Harold's Purple Crayon. I love that. I love that so much. That's one of my favorite things ever. And so yeah, so this particular soap, now what I'm going to do with this is I will be, once I hit an emulsion, I will be splitting this into multiple pieces. So obviously into the 3 containers that I prepared with the burgundy, the black, and the white. But also before I do any of that, I'm going to pour off about 1/3 of the batch to use as the white top, essentially. So kind of like the foam on a coffee, and you know, go from there. Now, when you are playing with branding for another company, because I white label for, well, God, the majority of my wholesale accounts actually, and so I really do recommend, especially for my local accounts, I recommend doing a custom bar for them, doing a custom line for them, especially for the ones that are local. Because if there are, you know, 12 people in a 10-block radius selling the Tyler Durden, well, we are all competing against each other, and the only one that's actually making any money is me, right? But if you have a different soap or a different set of soaps in your shop that I don't carry in mine, with your logo on it, with all of the, then that becomes custom and intrinsically you. You can't get this soap anywhere other than, you know, right here in this one place, in this particular instance, in this coffee house, which I love. And also just as a way to really continue promoting your brand and driving that home, and that, you know, creating that memory with your clients. Every time they use this soap, it has the stamp on it from the coffee house, and it, you know, looks like the logo from the coffee house, and it all works, and it's continuing to really like solidify your business in their mind, which is a great idea. Like, whatever you can do to give yourself, to make yourself as memorable as possible, do that, because that's it's one of the hardest things ever. I actually have, there's a, this is terrible to say, but I have a juice shop that is 3 doors down from my shop on 6th Ave, and I love their juices. They have my favorite green drinks for sure. And every time I want to order from them, I still have to look up their name by going to Google and saying juice shop 6th Ave. And then I learned that it's Gather, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course it's Gather. Like, they're literally 3 doors down from me, and I cannot remember their name. And so people have bad memories. It's a thing. It's like why I continue to tell people, please subscribe, because you're going to forget me. I am forgettable. So yeah, you just do anything to really continue to make sure people remember who you are for when they need to find you again. So again, a custom soap in your line, be you a coffee house or a spa, that definitely helps, you know, really solidify all of it and drive it home, so people will, you'll make an impression on people, and they will know where to find you and want to find you when they're ready to come back. Okay, and on to the pour of this guy. Now, I actually, so I lined this mold weird, right? And I did that intentionally because I want the bottom of the bars to be rounded instead of have like the normal square, you know, really straight edges and corners. I wanted them to be rounded. And so I accomplished that by lining the mold kind of strange. So instead of making a really hard crease in my bottom liner before I put it in, I just don't. And it works, but unfortunately it gets really weird with the pour because the ends fly up, and tape doesn't actually stick to my molds because I made Mr. Soap and Clay make them out of MDF. You see that? And then I like painted them with whatever. It's all a thing. But yes, because I did not crease the mold, it's kind of an improper, or the liner, it's kind of an improperly lined mold. It will serve the purposes, it will do what I want it to do, but it becomes a pain to actually pour in. And the potential for your soap batter getting between the mold and the liner, it's very good, and the liner and all of the things. So this was just a really basic curve into the mold. So I'm doing an in the mold swirl for all of this using all of the colors. And as you put them in, I'm pouring very high with all of this, so the colors will go all the way down to the bottom and swirl together really nicely. And then, you know, you get all of the rest of it out of the containers and into the mold, because we don't ever waste soap batter ever, because it's perfectly good soap. Put it in the mold. And continuing on with this over and over until everything is in the mold. And I think I take a skewer to this just for funsies to show you what it looks like. And I think maybe I just take a skewer to half of it. I don't remember. Let's see. We will find out in just a minute, I assume. And I'm almost sure I take a skewer to it. I have to take a skewer to it. Oh yeah, okay. So just a very messy skewer through it to really help everything, you know, move together well. And then I am going immediately on to the top. I'm not letting the stuff in the mold set up, and you saw how liquidy that was. It's very thin batter right now with all the cool swirls going on and the stuff that's already in the mold. I'm not going to let that set up. As soon as this is done being mixed, I'm going to pour directly over that, because if the white dips down into that area, it's completely fine. I will be pouring very, very close to the surface with this white, so it doesn't dip all the way down, because I ultimately do want the entire top of it to be covered with white. But if it mixes in a little bit and there's not a completely uniform color shift, that's completely fine. And you see how it sort of is mixing, right? Right there. I was actually going for that. And I don't know. Even when I'm not actually going for this, that's usually what the majority of my layered soaps do, because I am impatient. But this one was actually intentional, because the foam on the, you know, top of coffee, it's not uniform. It's liquid. It's not, yeah. So once this all gets put into the mold, I am then going to just sculpt the top and do some pretties with some mica drizzle with all of it in the same color as the burgundy that's inside. And, you know, then do all the things. But yeah, no, I thought this was a really fun idea to incorporate into a coffee shop design, in a coffee shop, you know, soap, essentially, for a wholesale account that sells coffee. Now, tomorrow is another video for this particular coffee shop, and we will be making their coffee bar. And really, you know, smells like coffee, has their coffee in it, all of the things. And we'll talk more about that and sort of the dangers of having soaps in your coffee and or tea houses, you know, tomorrow. But just as a spoiler, there are dangers for that. And we'll get more into why that is, you know, tomorrow. But for this, she's stocking just 2 different bars right now. And I think that's completely a great idea, because A, you don't sell soaps or beauty products or whatever. This is just a fun thing to put into the line that, again, you can use your coffee to do. You can use your coffee inside of, which is awesome. But 2, if you have too many soap products in a coffee house, it changes the beans, it changes the taste, it changes the smell. It's all a thing. It's pretty wild. Chemistry's cool. But yeah, so just a little mica drizzle on the top of this guy that I'll then work in with a skewer for some of it, just to, again, pull that color from the top or from the bottom to the top, and all of the jazz. But yeah, I'm super excited to actually cut into this guy and see what the swirls did and how that spicy tomato / sexy stranger on a train mix fared, and if we have a nice, you know, maroony, burgundy, black and white bar with all of this that can go, oh yeah, that's totally a coffee house bar. And, you know, we'll see tomorrow. This will get put in the oven for C-pop, and then we will cut into it and see what we're working with tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And on to the cut of this bar of soap, and so far everything looks great. It's beautiful, it's nice and shiny. I love that so much. And cutting into this guy here, see what kind of swirls we have going on, as well as whether or not the roundy on the bottom worked. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. And the rounding on the bottom totally worked. And you see how, based on where I put the white in, I was putting it right down the middle of the soap, right? So that's where the swoop is. Now, once you get enough white in, you continue to pour over that same spot, it kind of, you know, melds out from there. Meld is not the word. My brain is not working. But so the white will not continue to dip down to the rest of the colors once you have enough of that white down in that middle area there. It just sort of fills in from that. It's where words are complicated for me today. But those swirls are absolutely beautiful, and I love the finished product with that. It totally looks, I think that's perfect for her company, her coffee shop, what it looks like inside, what their logo is, all of that jazz, and still totally gives off a coffee house vibe in ways that like a bright orange bar that smells of mango never could. And I bet you knew I was going to say mango, right? I always use mango as an example of this is something that's inappropriate, and it's really weird how it's always fitting, especially since I love mango. But see the roundy on those, the roundy at the bottoms, they're roundy. That's good. Again, it's a pain in the butt to line the mold that way, but that's the end result, and so you don't have to bevel anything. It's just roundy, and I like that. It adds a cool, I don't know, look to the overall finished bar. It's very beautiful. Yep, that's definitely a winner. I love that one so much. Those are, I'm excited. It's always exciting doing the first soaps for a new client, for a wholesale client, and it's always, it can be a little bit stressful and whatever, but it's fun to see. Did we nail it? Did we not? What else would you like to see? All of the jazz. But for now, that's their first bar. It's day 259. A coffee shop soap that smells of sandalwood and looks like a babe. Those bars are absolutely stunning. I love them so much, and I was so tickled pink when I saw all the beautiful swirls and everything inside of them. So yes, and yeah, for the rest of it, that's one of the things that you do need to contend with and think about if you are selling soaps, or if you are somebody that owns like a coffee or a tea house and you want to bring soaps into your inventory. That they're great like grabs for sure. It's a good thing to put in, and I love that. But if you're selling bagged coffee and soaps, you could actually change or teas to that. You could actually change the taste of your coffees or teas just by nature of the soaps, you know, existing. So be careful with that. With this one, I did talk to my wholesale account about all of this, and, you know, sort of helped her out with where she could stage things and how many she should have at a time and all the things. So it's not going to impact, you know, her beans, but that's something to definitely keep in mind. I hope you guys had fun today. I hope you learned some stuff, or just, you know, enjoyed yourselves and all the things. And if you did and you want to subscribe, that'd be cool. Just click the word. That would be yes. For those of you who have clicked the word, hey, thank you. Yes, I am out of here for today. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of 365 days of soap. Bye.